Breaking news, the reunion is happening. Glen Gulutzan has been named the next head coach of the Dallas Stars.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Breaking news just moments ago, the Dallas Stars have offered Glen Gulutzan the job of becoming the next head coach of the Dallas Stars. Contract negotiations are underway. He would become the 26th head coach in Dallas Stars history, or maybe the 25th still, since he's already had a stint as the head coach of the Dallas Stars in the early 2010s. We're here to break it all down on today's episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Let me know your feelings, your opinions in the comments below. I know we've done a lot of episodes on the coaching search as a whole for the Dallas Stars. And just this last week, we did an episode on whether you would choose Neil Graham or Glen Gulutzan. And of course, y'all know I chose Neil Graham, who is 40 years of age, has won and developed a lot of great players down in the AHL. But when I look at this from the perspective of general manager Jim Nill, I understand why he would go this route instead of Neil Graham. Also, the Stars still have the potential to promote Neil Graham to an assistant coach behind the bench and behind Glen Gulutzan. So this could be a two birds and one stone sort of action by the Dallas Stars. They get to promote their young and up-and-coming head coach in Neil Graham down in the AHL, and also get somebody that's been there, done that with Glen Gulutzan. Plus, I think it's fair not to judge Gulutzan too hard on what he was as a head coach back in 2010, 2011, 2012. It was very turbulent times for the Dallas Stars as an organization, and Glen Gulutzan was very young himself. He was 40 years of age when he took that job with the Dallas Stars. Now he has a lot of skins on the wall behind NHL benches. He spent the last 7 seasons with the Edmonton Oilers as an assistant coach. He was also a head coach with the Calgary Flames from 2016 to 2018. So I think it's fair to judge Gulutzan on what we're going to see from the Dallas Stars this next season. And again, the Stars are in this mindset of winning a Stanley Cup now. They are a Stanley Cup contender. And I can understand why Jim Nill made the decision to offer Glen Gulutzan the head coaching job over somebody like Neil Graham. I understand it. Do I love it? No, but it makes sense. He's been around the block. He has coached some of the best talent in the NHL over the past 6-7 years with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. And yes, I understand he's an assistant head coach, but now he has an opportunity to get a second chance here in Dallas. And we know this roster is better than where it was back in 2011, 2012. The Stars went 42, 35, and 5 that season. Louis Erickson was the leading point scorer for the Dallas Stars with 71 points. Stars are in a much better, healthier state now. And Glen Gulutzan, this is your chance to make this a happy, happy reunion. This is your chance to be the cool uncle at the family reunion. Don't be the weird cousin that drinks a little too much and really ruins the entire reunion for everybody else. That's going to be my analogy for today. That's my analogy. Let's be the cool uncle that everybody loves, everybody wants to be around, that hasn't seen you in years at the family reunion, and you do a good job. It's a chance to redeem yourself once again here. I have some of you wonderful Stars fans with some thoughts on this decision on Twitter. There is one from Jeff that says, horrible. Joe says that this team is being run into the ground. Been there, done that. It's going to be fine. Ready to see how he does. Other people not very happy. Bubba Knocker here says, on the fence, need to see how his pro cycle offense fits here. Also like the idea of getting Graham on the bench as an assistant. And I think that's where I am in a lot of ways too. I'm a bit on the fence. Do I love it? No. Is it really flashy and exciting? No. But I guess you can say it's a grown-up in the room that has been in it. He understands it now. Hopefully he can learn from whatever mistakes that he's made in the past and can now deliver results here in Dallas. And the results or the expectation is winning a Stanley Cup with the roster that is being handed to you. A very good one that Pete DeBoer has shown in his first 3 seasons in Dallas, the highest winning percentage or point percentage of any Dallas Stars coach in the organization's history. It's your job not to mess it up to some degree. And I'm really, really curious to see how this goes and to learn more about Glen Gulutzan. Look, back in 2011, 2012, I was not that ingrained into coaching philosophies and styles. I'm really still not that way in a lot of ways. But I'm going to learn more and more as we kind of dive into Glen Gulutzan as a head coach, learn what he's about and how we can expect the Dallas Stars to play. And I'm sure we'll hear from him eventually in the coming weeks as well. So it'd be rather intriguing how this all plays out. But as I mentioned, will become the 26th head coach in Dallas Stars history once eventually he signs his contract. Got another reply here that they're really excited to see what he can bring to the table. So it is a bit deja vu. Who knows? It's really intriguing. Again, I don't think it's a sexy hire. Am I in love with it? No, but again, I think this is a positive in the fact that now with Steve Spott being gone to Boston, it does give the opportunity for Neil Graham to become a Stars assistant coach. And if you recall back to the episode from last week, I mentioned the caveat is with Glen Gulutzan being hired. My caveat was Neil Graham becomes an assistant coach. If you're going to make that hire, then I think it's a great way to promote Neil Graham and give him some of that experience behind a bench. And who knows, maybe, 4 or 5 years down the line, Glen Gulutzan maybe isn't getting the job done. Maybe he's successful. Who knows? It gives a pathway for Neil Graham to eventually become a head coach as well. So I think this brings an opportunity for the Stars organization to promote a guy that is ready to be behind an NHL bench, but maybe not ready to take over the reins. And give him a guy like Glen Gulutzan, who's still relatively young in a lot of ways. It gives Neil Graham someone to learn behind and go on from there. So there you have it. Those are just some of my thoughts on Glen Gulutzan being named the next head coach of the Dallas Stars. Again, it is not confirmed yet with contract negotiations underway and all that good stuff. I just saw this and immediately came to the mic. A few more thoughts and a few more of your responses in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game more exciting. You've already heard about following the action. You've already heard about FanDuel probably if you're listening to Locked On Stars. You can get it on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. If you're not on vacation, get in on the action with FanDuel. You can track your favorite matchups. The app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. New to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Once again, it looks like Glen Gulutzan will be named the next head coach of the Dallas Stars. Elliot Friedman tweeted just moments ago, hearing Glen Gulutzan is closing in on being the next head coach of the Dallas Stars. It's just all about contract negotiations as we speak, but I think it's safe to say we can expect that to be done here probably within the next few hours. Again, I think a lot of people are probably on the fence hearing some of the feedback. We have one here from Robert Wolben. I think he'll do great. And yeah, he's obviously taking over a club that's in a much better spot than where he was in 2011, 2012. So it's really not fair to maybe judge him on his first stint as a Dallas Stars head coach. But look, it's going to be brought up. He's probably going to get questions about it, and we're going to see how maybe he's learned from some of those mistakes, how he has maybe changed his philosophy, his style, in hopes of successfully being a head coach once again. And, he's had some decent seasons as a head coach, even here in Dallas. You can go back to his teams in Calgary. They did make the playoffs one year. They weren't incredible by any stretch of the imagination, but they did make the postseason, and they had some decent players. But I think it's safe to say this is probably going to be the most talent-filled roster that Glen Gulutzan is taking over as a head coach, and the expectations are high. And I'm encouraged, and I guess anxious to see what he does. Here's one from Jacob W. And Nill, I trust. And Nill, we trust. He was named the. I guess we haven't got to talk about this. He was named the winner of the NHL GM of the Year award again. So 3 years in a row for Jim Nill, and I think Jim did his due diligence, went over all possible opportunities, candidates, and all that good stuff. And this is the decision that he made that he thinks is the best moving forward for the Dallas Stars. He hasn't really steered us wrong a whole lot. So I think we can trust that. And the reunion is going to be fascinating to say the least. And hopefully it's very, very successful for the Dallas Stars. And again, I think this can be a positive in a lot of ways. You can promote Neil Graham, and I know a lot of Stars fans were hoping for him, but you think about it from Jim Nill's perspective. Think of what he said in that exit interview a few weeks ago, maybe even a month now since the firing of head coach Pete DeBoer. Stars have to be careful to not make a decision that causes them to step back, because you can make one decision that causes a reaction to nosedive and to go backwards. And maybe he thought it was too big of a risk, and which I mentioned was one of the cons with Neil Graham. He just doesn't have experience behind an NHL bench. And I think I made this point with Gavin Spittle the other week too, when he joined the show. If this was 2018 or whenever it was when Jim Montgomery was the head coach of the Dallas Stars, let me find the exact year here with Jim, 2019. If this is 2019, I think Neil Graham, to be honest, he may get the shot. He may become the Stars head coach, just because Stars, again, are in a different spot. They're kind of rebuilding to some degree, retooling at least. They're on the rise of becoming what they hope a competitive team year in and year out. Well, Stars are in this spot now where, okay, like, we get it. And if all things go well, like, the Stars should be in the playoffs next year. Now it's Glen Gulutzan's job to try to get them over the hump. They're supposed to be there, and you have a guy that understands it, understands being a head coach in the NHL, understands all the intricacies it takes, being around players, make a lot of money and all that good stuff. And now it's his job to try to get them over the hump. If it's 2019, I think Neil Graham, maybe I would say there's a really, really good shot he gets named the head coach of the Dallas Stars. But it's just a different era right now of Dallas Stars hockey. And it looks like at least Jim Nill believes Glen Gulutzan is going to be the best possible candidate and selection for the Dallas Stars moving forward. Okay, well, that's all I have for now on Glen Gulutzan and him becoming the next head coach of the Dallas Stars. I guess I shouldn't be so convicted on my statements here being named the Stars head coach. It's not officially done yet, but it looks like that's going to be the case, and wanted to get my thoughts out there for you. And love to hear your feedback as well in the comments below. Please let us know. Drop a comment, drop a like, drop a subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're here on Locked On Stars every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, bringing you Dallas Stars coverage the rest of the offseason. I appreciate all the love and support. As always, Stars fans, have a great rest of your day, and we'll be back, of course, later this week with more news and more stuff to break down. See you later, Stars fans. See you on the next episode.